Hey guys, Adam Francisco here. This video is long overdue. So I owe you guys an apology for not making it sooner, but I figure now is just as good a time as any. Now this video is not sponsored by Lucky Charms, but I will say I do love Lucky Charms. Very delicious. And you know what I realized? One of my dogs, Cloud, she loves Lucky Charms too. Except I don't give her these things, whatever they're called, the sugary pieces. Come here, Cloud. Come here. I give her these, the grains, and she loves them. Here you go, Cloud. What a good girl. What a good girl. Oh, look, see? She loves them. Anyway, guys. This is going to be my walkaway story. For those of you who've been following me for a few months now, you guys have been seeing my walkaway videos. I've done about 30 so far. I think this is episode 30 today that we're filming right now. Let me just let me fact check that. So let's see. We are on episode 29. All right, I was close. We're on episode 29. So I'm officially going to tell you guys why I personally walked away from the Democratic Party. And yeah, it's something some of you guys have been asking for, and I haven't done this video yet, so I figure now's a good time as any. So before I get into that, I'll give you a little bit of background about me and my relationship with politics, because I have not always been very politically active. This is kind of a new thing for me. But let's back up. Let's rewind. I'm from New York City, Forest Hills, Queens. And I remember growing up and my parents being Democrats. I remember this. I remember voting at the public library in Forest Hills when I was younger, probably 18 or 19 or 20. You know, some of the local elections. And my parents always said, always vote Democrats, always vote Democrats. So I always did. Never really knew anything about Republicans or Democrats. I'm 37 now, so this is almost 20 years ago. As a matter of fact, I spoke to my dad today, and I said, Dad, was I correct in that you and Mom were Democrats when I was younger? He goes, yeah, absolutely, we were. I said, so you've changed your position recently? He goes, yeah, we're Republicans now. We had a change of mind, a change of heart. So I knew I was right. I knew that I grew up being told the Democratic Party is the way to go. But I never knew why. I never cared to ask. Wasn't interested. I also remember feeling that my vote didn't even count in New York, because I knew that no matter how I voted, because of the Electoral College when it comes to the presidency, I knew that my vote would always count as a Democratic vote anyway. So even if I ever wanted to vote Republican, I knew it doesn't count. It's Electoral College. That was always my logic. So I remember in 2016, when Trump was running for president, I, like many people, thought it was kind of laughable. This stupid reality TV guy, running for president, he's got no chance to win. That's what I thought. And I watched a lot of the liberal news back then, and they all, laughed. So I'm like, yeah, this is so silly. They can't believe he's running. Donald Trump for president is so stupid. And I remember I was in Cambodia, 2016, in November, in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh. Fantastic city. If you guys have not been. No, I was in Siem Reap. I've been both to Siem Reap and Phnom Penh. This trip I was in Siem Reap. If you guys have not been to Cambodia yet, I highly recommend you guys check out Siem Reap and go to Angkor Wat. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. You really feel like you're in Tomb Raider, because a lot of Tomb Raider was actually filmed in Angkor Wat. So I was waking up next to a Cambodian girl, and she did not know what was going on with politics, but she had heard of the presidential election. She knew that Trump was like this crazy character. And so I wake up and I'm like, do you see this? Trump's winning. I was like, this can't be right. So then I ended up checking multiple sources, checked my Facebook news feed, and I was so shocked to see that Trump was winning. So my first reaction, and by the way, I didn't vote. I didn't vote in 2016. My first reaction was, holy shit, I think he's going to pull this off. I think he's going to win this. And I got excited. I got giddy. I didn't get giddy because I cared if he won or not. I got giddy just to see how people would react. How would Americans handle this? I didn't know anything about liberals and conservatives and make liberals cry. I didn't know about this. All I knew is that I saw my friends from New York, mostly Democrats, mostly liberals, really upset about this. So I just thought it was kind of like funny. Like, why are they so upset? Who cares? It's politics. Anyway, he ended up winning. I was shocked. But again, I knew nothing about politics. Let's fast forward to 2017. I was on Facebook talking to a few friends on my wall. And I had this one friend named Michael, okay? Now, for some reason, Michael would always leave the comment MAGA on my posts. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. At the time, okay, this is 2017, I always thought MAGA was like a white supremacist thing. So whenever he'd leave MAGA on my wall, I was like, bro, I don't want to be associated with that nonsense. I would delete it. I was like, MAGA is racism. MAGA is white supremacy. As a matter of fact, I don't even know what MAGA stood for. I just saw MAGA, white supremacy, MAGA, white supremacy. I didn't know that it meant Make America Great Again. That was 2017. 2018, I was very apolitical. I had no idea what was going on. 2019, I moved to Thailand. So I moved to Thailand in November 2018, but I was in Thailand January 2019. And I remember sitting there on the beach of Thailand. This is because I had all the free time in the world. And for some reason, this thought hits me. And the thought was, why does it seem that the media hates Trump? Has this guy done anything good? And then I looked at my social network. Why does everyone from New York hate Donald Trump? Has he done anything good? So I started doing research about some of the things that Trump has done, just out of sheer curiosity. Like, has this guy done anything good? After all, we elected him president. And I remember reading this one act called Right to Try, which gave terminally ill patients the right to try to live. So if you wanted to try an experimental procedure, you no longer had to go overseas. You could do it here within America, even if the FDA didn't approve it. And now my mom passed away from cancer in 2009. She didn't have access to any experimental procedure. And as a matter of fact, back then, she wasn't even recommended to have marijuana in 2009. You know, in hindsight, the cancer had spread to her stomach. I remember this. And, you know, had we been more progressive in terms of marijuana, I know that marijuana boosts hunger. And I know that my mom wasn't really eating a lot of food back then. Her calorie count was easily below 1,000 calories a day, easily. I mean, she would just nibble on food. And I know that when you have a low calorie count, your body doesn't have enough energy to put a fight against a virus, disease, whatever it is. So I wish in hindsight, you know, she was given marijuana so that maybe she would have had a better appetite. Maybe she could have had more strength to fight. But even beyond that, I would have liked to see experimental procedures as an option for my mom. Anything, you know, to help her heal. Now, again, I don't know if it would have made much of a difference. But when I saw the Right to Try as a bill passed by Donald Trump's administration, I thought, that's pretty damn good. And then I also found out in 2019 he passed a bill called Preventing Animal Cruelty and Torture Act. Now, as you guys know, I have dogs, Raindrop and Cloud. And these are my daughters, my fur babies, my angels. And what I liked was that he made animal cruelty a felony. So it increased the punishment and the severity of hurting an animal. I like that too. So then I just kept doing more and more research and learning more about different acts that Donald Trump has passed. I also started realizing some of the impacts that his policies have had, such as like record low unemployment for blacks, Latinos back in 2019, before COVID, of course. I thought that was awesome. And then at the same time, I started to discover a lot of conservative thinkers, such as Ben Shapiro, Hodge twins, Louder with Crowder, Stephen Crowder, Officer Tatum, Candace Owens, Larry Elder. And what I liked about these people was when they would look at social issues, they really, in my opinion, they broke it down. They broke it down from a logical, rational standpoint to get to their conclusions. They didn't leap with emotions. They looked at facts, they looked at stats, they looked at numbers, and that's how they shaped their worldviews. This is my perception. Could be wrong, but that's my perception. And they made an impact on me because I realized, wow, these guys, they really lead you and you could easily follow along where their train of thought is. And I just felt like when someone can explain their mindset that clearly, there's something there. You know, and then just this year, I saw an article that said about 95% of media coverage of Trump is negative. 95%. That is so vastly negative that it just can't be real. It can't be real. And I got a little upset at the mainstream media because I'm kind of like, why are you suppressing all the good things he's done? And why are you highlighting or taking out of context all the bad things he's done? And I realized it must be because he's threatening something. He's threatening someone. He's threatening probably the establishment or the deep state, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get into that conspiracy stuff if that's what it is. I don't know. But all I know is like they're telling lies about this man. They're hiding all the good things he's done, and there must be a reason for that. You know, Donald Trump, for the high educated voters like us who have watched full videos of Trump, full press conferences, we know that he's condemned racism so many times. He's not a white supremacist. He's not a racist because we know he's condemned it. He's disavowed it so many different times. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can see a compilation from students from Trump. Great video they put together. But we know he's not a white supremacist. But what the MSM does is they take his bad comments out of context. They replay it over and over and over. And they suppress his condemnation of white supremacy and racism. They suppress it. So they're giving us all the bad stuff, which isn't even that bad, it's just twisted, and they minimize all the good stuff. And so people that get their news from MSM have this very skewed image of who Donald Trump is. And I don't think that's right. So is it my responsibility to find the truth? No. Is it my responsibility to change minds? No. My responsibility is to myself, and that is to be honest to myself, that is to be true to myself. And Facebook actually came out with a study recently and said that people that are true to themselves on social media and aren't lying, they're usually happier. And I think that's true, you know, because the way I saw it is I had two options. Option one is fall in line like a good citizen, right? And just repeat the liberal mainstream narrative that Trump is bad and he's got to be voted out. If I said that, I'd be getting applause. I'd be getting so many more likes on my Facebook. I would be getting probably more job offers because I'm falling in line. The other option was to be silent. And I'll tell you guys a secret. For those of you who have social media, and for those of you who have friends that are quiet, meaning they're not saying anything politics, chances are they're a Trump supporter. That's the truth. Because if they are a liberal Democrat supporter, you're almost rewarded for being open about it. You're almost rewarded for bad-mouthing Trump. It's almost like, yes, more of that, more of that. If I show you half the stuff that these people write about Trump, these liberals, these Democrats, it's bizarre how this is like encouraged. Whereas if a Trump supporter just simply says, I support Trump because I support my president, they're deemed racist, misogynistic, scum of the earth, losers. And I find that funny because liberals and Democrats, not only are they supposed to be more tolerant, but they're the ones who are supposed to say that people aren't a monolith, right? So it's ironic that they think that all Trump supporters think and behave a certain way. So I just decided, you know what? The hell with it. This election is way too important for us, for our country, for our children, for our grandchildren, that I couldn't be silenced this election. I needed to speak my voice and speak my truth, even if it was against the narrative. You know, my dad is a big Trump supporter now, which, by the way, has nothing to do with why I like Trump. However, it certainly does make me feel more comfortable about being more open about Trump because I know my dad's very proud of me, and I'm proud of my dad too. He's a Vietnam War vet, he's a cancer survivor, and he loves Donald Trump. And actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to interview my dad this weekend for you guys about how he became a Trump supporter. So you'll get my dad's walkaway video, which I think is cool because I always wanted to get my dad on camera. Just because I think it'd be fun to interview my dad. So you guys will meet him, sometime next week. But yeah, I am a proud Trump supporter. And, again, I was told to be Democrat my whole life by my parents without really knowing what Democrats meant or what being a Democrat was or even a Republican. I knew nothing. Now, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just a Trump supporter. And I would say I don't really have a party. Like, I'm not loyal to any party. But I'm just loyal to the person I think is best for the job, and that's, in my opinion, Donald Trump. Now, has he handled the virus perfectly? Of course not. Of course not. There's a lot of things he could have done, probably a little bit better. But there are a lot of things that he did do well that the press, the MSM, no one gives him any credit for. And to me, that's disingenuous. You know, if you're going to highlight all the bad things, well then maybe highlight some of the good things too. And then I could take your bad mouthing of his efforts a little bit more seriously. But right now this is very one-sided against Trump. So we got 30 days before this election. And I hope Trump wins. I know most of you guys watching hope Trump wins too. But if he doesn't, there's definitely going to be feelings of disappointment. Definitely some sadness. I know that for a fact. I'll definitely feel a little sad. But yeah, let's just do the best we can on November 3rd. And let's try to vote this guy in for 4 more years, because the way the media's treated him from day one, the way the Democrats treated him from day one, this guy never had a fair shot. He never had a chance. And he's probably right. The media's never been this mean to anybody before. So I think he does deserve 4 more years. That's just the reality. And I'm going to ride with Trump to the election. And I'm happy that he's feeling better from the virus. I know a lot of liberals and Democrats were saying a lot of mean things about Donald Trump's COVID infection. And one more note I do want to make, because I do think this is very important. We've had a lot of deaths in America because of COVID. I lost a family friend who was in a nursing home in New York. Go figure, you know, Cuomo, he might be responsible for that one. But what I realized was, and the research backs me up here, is America is a pretty old country, right? We have a pretty high life expectancy, almost 80 years old. My battery died, sorry about that, guys. So, America is pretty old, right? Average life expectancy is about 80 years old, 79, 78 if you're a woman, 78 if you're a man. So we're a pretty old country, and we're also very unhealthy. Okay? We also have great medical care. Even if all the healthcare system's messed up in terms of money and payments, I get that, but our medical care system is still pretty good. The actual quality of the work we produce is pretty good. So people live longer here, and they live very long even with comorbidities. So you could have all these health problems, but using medication and treatment, we could prolong lives here. That's why our life expectancies are so high. But what the research has shown is people that live unhealthy lifestyles are typically impacted more by coronavirus than people that live healthy lifestyles. Now, it's not perfect, but that's how it's correlated. You know, Italy was one of the first countries to find out that obesity is one of the leading indicators of COVID complications. Not whether or not you'd get COVID, but if it would affect you in a negative way. Obesity. Now, why are people obese? Well, you're obese because you eat too many calories. You're obese because you don't burn enough calories, meaning you don't exercise enough. You're obese because you have too much body fat relative to your body size. And if you have all these issues, it's probably because you're not going to the gym, you're not lifting weights, you're not doing cardio, you're probably not eating the right calorie foods, you're not eating the right nutrition foods. So what I'm realizing is, while Donald Trump might bear some responsibility for some of the deaths we've had in America, individuals also deserve some accountability in terms of how COVID's affecting them. You know, if you're obese and you're, you know, because of your lifestyle habits, that's something that you can control. And so what I'm hoping from this whole thing, and I hope that everyone takes this message from this, is COVID was a reminder and a wake-up call that all of us have to just be healthier. We got to do the best we can to be as healthy as possible. Now, I've been preparing for COVID since February. And when I say that, what I mean is I've made sure that I haven't gained any weight. I'm 5'10", 165 right now. My body fat's about 13%, which is pretty solid. So low body fat, watching my caloric intake, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, not stressing about the virus, because Donald Trump's right. Don't let it dominate your life. If you let it dominate your life and you're stressed, well, guess what? That's not good for your immune system. Stress is bad, so don't be stressed. Just be healthy. And then I took all my supplements religiously. Vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, fish oil, beetroot. I also drink kombucha, 1 or 2 bottles a day, which probiotics are also good for COVID apparently. So I've done everything I could to stack the deck in my favor should I ever get COVID, right? If I ever get COVID, I have a feeling that I'd be fine because I've prepared my body for war, right? I'm a pretty fit guy. Now, that's not a guarantee because you've had some athletes fall to COVID, but that's so rare. That's like lottery level odds, right? The vast majority of people that are dying from COVID are people that have comorbidities or are obese. Now, not all comorbidities are our fault. Some of them are just DNA code that just went wild, like cancer or some forms of diabetes, right? Like you can't control that sometimes. And that's when you just got a bad deck of cards and we got to protect the vulnerable. But then there are a lot of people in America that they don't exercise. They don't eat vegetables. They don't take vitamins. They don't do anything healthy. They eat fast food all the time. And then they don't exercise. So you've not set your body up for optimal performance. So now when you get the virus, when you get COVID, your body doesn't have the strength and the health to fight it because you haven't set it up properly. So, well, again, Donald Trump could have handled the virus better, I think. A lot of responsibility comes on us as a society to be healthier. And if you have a friend that has just bad lifestyle habits, they're drinking 6-7 nights a week, they're terribly out of shape, you got to wake that person up and tell them, look, I care about you, bro. You need to get your life on track by getting on the track. Seriously. Because that's how we can reduce COVID deaths. If all of us lose a little bit of weight, tighten it up in the gym, as we say to the ladies out there, if you keep the body tight, I'll keep the budget loose, right? Tight body, loose pockets. That's how it works. If we can encourage people around us to be healthier, we can lower the death rate through our own behavior, which is just like being healthy. And the media doesn't really talk about this part. They just want to blame Trump and blame Trump and blame Trump. They're not talking about the vitamins. They're not talking about the weight loss. They're not talking about going to the gym and exercising or just go outside for a run. Instead, the media is trying to keep stress at all-time levels. They want to stress you the fuck out. They want to stress you out so much so that all you're thinking about is COVID. Oh my God, if I don't wear a mask, I'm going to hell. I'm killing grandma. Look, if you don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. You could not want to wear one, but you still should wear one. And look, you could always get a mask that says Trump 2020. That's right. So now if you got to wear a mask, at least you could get your message out while you do it. To me, that's a pretty fair compromise. What do you guys think, huh? Anyway, guys, that's my walkaway story for you. Why I became a Trump supporter. I just got sick of all the negativity about Trump, and I knew that there was more to him than the media was letting on. And I was right. There is a lot more to Trump than the media is letting on. The guy's done incredible things for our country. Incredible things for our country. But if you guys have any questions, any comments, leave them in the description. We got a video coming out for you guys October 8th. I'm going back to St. Augustine. We're going to interview people there. More on-the-ground interviews because I know you guys love those. And then Friday, we're going to interview my dad, October 9th, about his walkaway story. That should be a fun one. And then we're just going to keep hitting the campaign trail. Go out there and interview people all over Florida until election comes. So once again, guys, thanks for watching my channel. If you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, hit subscribe. If you did not like this video, also hit subscribe. And as always, be free, my sheeple.